Well, you know what, buddy? I talked about Australian animals, and I guess, there's probably an animal worth talking about from America.
Well, there's a lot of animals in America we
Uh-huh.
could talk about that's really cool animals.
Yep.
But one in particular that I'd like to talk about.
Well, you know what? You know what I did? I thought to myself, what would Buddy Davis think was a fantastic animal to talk about? And I took a guess.
Let's see if you're right.
Okay. How about this one?
You're right. How did you know that, Ken?
I just guessed.
That's
Isn't that
really
amazing? I knew what you were going to do. Yeah. And you know why I thought this one?
Why?
I wonder if you think the same thing. Because of its tongue.
That's what I want to talk about.
Oh, see, there we are.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's amazing, Ken. Well, I do love the woodpecker. There's a lot of things I could tell you guys about the woodpecker, but I'm just going to talk about its tongue. What an amazing tongue God designed in the woodpecker. Most birds have a relatively short tongue in their beak, right? Not a very big tongue at all in most birds. But the woodpecker, God designed it so it has a long, skinny tongue. And on top of that, most birds' tongue will end right back here in the throat. That's where the tongue stops in most critters. But not the woodpecker. God designed the woodpecker so it has an extension on the back of its tongue, and the woodpecker's tongue wraps all the way around the skull and sticks inside of the right nostril.
Ooh.
Yep. The woodpecker keeps part of its tongue inside of its nose. I tell that to boys and girls who usually go, cool. So when the woodpecker's drawing on a tree, discovers, there's a hole there. I wonder what's inside that hole. The woodpecker takes that long, skinny tongue of his, sticks it down inside that long, tight, skinny hole. Now, how's a woodpecker going to tell the difference between a bug or a piece of sawdust? God thinks of everything. God designed little, tiny whiskers on the tip of that woodpecker's tongue that will tickle it. It can feel that movement. All the woodpecker thinks, this is a bug, it's not sawdust. I can eat this. Problem. How's the woodpecker now going to draw that bug out of that long, tight, skinny hole? God thinks of everything. God made a factory in that woodpecker's tongue that makes glue. It does. It's like a glue factory in the woodpecker's tongue. Makes a sticky substance. The woodpecker doesn't know any of this is working, and it had better work or you're not going to have a woodpecker, so the woodpecker will glue the bug to the tip of its tongue. Now, the woodpecker has a bug glued to its tongue, so it draws that bug out of that long, tight, skinny hole. Now, the woodpecker has a bug in its beak. How's it going to swallow the bug? It's glued to its tongue. God thinks of everything. God made another factory in that woodpecker's tongue, but this one is a dissolving factory that automatically dissolves that glue, automatically dissolves that sticky substance so that woodpecker can swallow that bug. I don't know about you guys, that is an awful lot of things that has to happen by time, matter, and chance, and tells me we have an awesome God knows how to do all the details right from the get-go and design that information in a bird we call the woodpecker. God's amazing.
Wow, buddy, you're getting excited. You better be careful at your age.
I
get excited.
I get excited with God's creation. That's just one of the many things I get excited about.
Well, how about you sing a song? You have a song about the woodpecker.
I wrote a song about the woodpecker.
We'll ask our resident music group here, our resident singing group, Steve Hess and Southern Salvation. And just to make sure you fit in with the talk here, Steve is officially a living fossil. And we have John and Matt with him. And they're going to sing the choruses of these songs to help you sing along as well. So you ready for this one?
Yeah, I'm ready. This is a fast song, guys. It's a fast song, so I need to talk as many people into clapping your hands along with us as I can talk into doing that. It helped keep us on time, right?
Yes.
And so we'll have some fun singing about the woodpecker. The woodpecker song goes like this.
How much wood does a woodpecker pack? When a woodpecker packs on wood. When a woodpecker packs, that woodpecker packs as much wood as it should pack wood.
God made the woodpecker on day 5. When finished, he said, it's good.
How much wood does a woodpecker pack? When a woodpecker packs on wood.
You think that woodpecker's bill would break or get a migraine when it eats, but God designed that woodpecker kind of string behind their beak. As they drill in a tree, it amazes me. Those birds don't break their necks. How much wood does a woodpecker pack when they go pack, 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 pack?
How much wood does a woodpecker pack? When a woodpecker packs on wood. When a woodpecker packs, that woodpecker packs as much wood as it should pack wood.
God made the woodpecker on day 5. When he finished, he said, it's good.
How much wood does a woodpecker pack? When a woodpecker packs on wood.
That woodpecker sounds just like a drum as he thumps against a tree. He blinks his eyes as sawdust flies, he'll never miss a beat. God put a cushion in its head so its brains don't turn to mush. Put sticky stuff on its tongue so it can catch those bug.
How much wood does a woodpecker pack? When a woodpecker packs on wood. When a woodpecker pecks, that woodpecker pecks as much wood as it should pack wood. God made the woodpecker on day 5. When he finished, he said, it's good. How much wood does a woodpecker peck when a woodpecker pecks on wood? When a woodpecker pecks, that woodpecker pecks as much wood as it should pack wood. Ba-ba-da-da, bum-bum.
Thank you.
Hey, don't clap and cheer him too much. You'll think that was good.
I appreciate it, guys.
There they go again. They're clapping you again. Well, you know what? On day 6, God made the land animals. And then, you know what the Bible tells us? God made the first man from dust. He didn't make him from an ape man. No, evolution is not true. Man was made from dust. And then God brought the animals he created to Adam, the first man, and asked him to name them. You can imagine giraffe. Well, that's a great name. Well, actually, we don't know what words Adam used. We don't know what language he spoke. But you know why God did that? To show Adam he was alone. There was male and female dodo, male and female cat, male and female chimp. Where's Mrs. Adam? He didn't look at a female chimp and say, she's close enough, I could date her, or something like that. So you know what God did? He put Adam to sleep, and from his rib, he made the first woman. So she came from the man, not from an ape woman. See, evolution is not true. Man from dust and woman from his side. And in fact, in the New Testament, we read in Corinthians that woman was made from man. Of course, that's saying, yes, that history in Genesis is true. Woman came from man. She didn't come from an ape woman. And when God made the first man and woman, you know what it says in the Bible? He made them male and female. In other words, he made 2 types of humans, male and female. I want us to remember that. God made 2 types of humans. What were they? Male and female. Isn't it interesting, mums, dads, and teachers? We have to teach our children that, which is obvious biology, but right from when they're born in this day and age. You know, when he made the first man and woman, he was also making the first marriage. So marriage is 1 man and 1 woman. So what's marriage? 1 man and 1 woman. We also need to make sure we're teaching about that these days. Remember, God created marriage, not the Supreme Court justices of the United States of America, which is very important for us to understand. Well, here's Adam looking at the animals here, and you say, Mr. Ham, but wait a minute, doesn't that one look like a dinosaur? Are you saying God made dinosaurs on day 6? Well, the word dinosaur is a modern word. Buddy and I are going to talk about that soon. So there was no word dinosaur back then. But dinosaurs are groups of animals, land animals, that sort of are like reptiles, but instead of having legs out to the side like a crocodile or an alligator, they have their legs underneath more like a horse or a cow or something like that. And there's a number of groups of these land animals that later on we call dinosaurs. But yes, God made all the land animals on day 6. So what we today call dinosaurs were made on day 6 alongside Adam. And I can prove it to you as a photograph Eve took in the Garden of Eden. And you can see the Garden of Eden was obviously in Australia, right? And you can imagine headlines in the newspaper. Dinosaurs made on 6th... Oh, well, actually, it should say, what they will call eventually dinosaurs were made on 6th day. Read all about it. And so here's Adam and Eve and the dinosaurs. And then I have boys and girls say, Mr. Ham, how long ago was that? Well, actually, you can work it out from the Bible. Because God's word tells us he made everything in 6 days, and there were 6 ordinary days. And then on day 6, he made land animals, and he made the first man. What was his name? Adam. And you know what the Bible does then? God gives us a history and tells us when people were born. For instance, as we go through in the Old Testament there, we read that Adam had a son, Seth, when Adam was 130 years old. Then when Seth was 105 years old, he had a son, Enosh. And then when Enosh was 90 years old, he had a son, Kenan. And then Kenan had a son at 70. And then he had a son at 65 called Jared. And Jared had a son, Enoch, at 162. And then Methuselah was born when Enoch was 65 years old. And then we keep going on. Methuselah fathered Lamech at 187. Lamech fathered Noah at 182. Then Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, when he was 500. And when you go through and you come to the time of Abraham, from Abraham to when God stepped into history as the babe in a manger, and then up to today, it comes to about 6,000 years. Not millions of years. You don't get millions of years from the Bible. But then I have boys and girls say, well, Mr. Ham, what about the scientists that say millions of years? What do you say to them? Well, you know, in the Bible after the flood of Noah's day, God was teaching a man called Job about creation. And what he was really saying to him was, Job, you weren't there, God was there, so you need to listen to what God has to say. And this is what he said to Job: where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? So I want you to remember this. The next time somebody says millions of years ago in a very polite way, you remember what God said to Job and you say, excuse me, were you there? Can you remember that? Next time somebody says millions of years ago, what's the question you ask? Were you there? What is it? Were you there?